first, and then we'll take the pictures of jersey afterwards, okay? We'll just start with questions.
Oh, you just described what the last 24 hours have been like?
Honestly, it is pretty hard to describe. I mean, it's everything that I've imagined it'd be. You know, I've worked so hard for this moment, and for it to finally, come true, I mean, it means everything to me. To be able to, spend that night with all my family and friends, the people who've supported me throughout this entire journey, and for me sitting down on that couch and seeing that New Jersey number, the ring, I mean, it was just everything. It was just the world. It meant the world to me.
Well, let's talk about the influence your parents have had on you during this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it plain and simple. I mean, I would not be here without them. The way that they raised me on the basis of love, respect, and discipline, especially discipline. And I felt like that played a really big part of my life, especially during college. Just being able to take care of business on and off the field and doing what I'm supposed to do, no matter what the circumstance was. I mean, it's all for them.
You said last night you didn't start playing football until your freshman year in high school.
Yes, sir.
What led to that, and why were you such a late starter?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I just grew up playing basketball. Football was never really a real option for me. I kind of just played basketball growing up just to keep myself active. Then when I got to high school, football is a fall sport in high school. Basketball is a winter sport, so I decided to try it out just to condition myself for the basketball season in the winter. But it only took one practice for me, in pads to know that, football is what I wanted to do.
When you were a left tackle, right? Like, what were you when you first?
So when I was on the freshman team, first year playing football, I was a defensive lineman. Then the year after, when I went up to JV, that's when I moved over to the offensive line and left tackle.
And that's when you started watching film of Tyron?
Yes, sir.
Have you met him? Have you spoken to him here?
No, not yet, but I cannot wait. I mean, he's truly my football idol, and for me to have the opportunity to be in the same room as him and learn from him, I mean, it's awesome.
What did you take from the film that you watched?
Yeah, I mean, with Tyron, I think the biggest thing, the reason why I watched him so much, because I felt like we have similar builds, both taller, leaner, long arms, and just watching how technically like proficient he is, just in the way that he moves. There's no wasted movement with him. Everything he does has intent with it. The way he uses his hands, the way he runs off the ball. I mean, as a tackle, he's the standard, and he's been the standard.
How did playing at Penn State prepare you for this moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that Penn State helped me with, and I think it's going to transition well into this team, is my competitiveness. I'm a very competitive person at Penn State. It's a very competitive environment where all the guys on the team, try to outdo each other, but for the betterment of the team. So for me, that's always my mindset. Every day I'm going to come into the building and I'm going to compete with myself and everyone around me, because I know that I'm going to get everyone better doing that.
What did you like about football when you first started? When did you move over to offense?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I liked about football was how it actually rewarded physicality, whereas in basketball, all my life, you got penalized for that. Growing up playing basketball, I was a bigger kid, taller, on the chubbier side, so I was just that, prototypical center, not really that useful on offense, really just used on defense. So, I'd use up all my fouls, all that different sort of things. And with football, again, it rewards physicality, it rewards toughness. So for me, it was a no-brainer to switch over. Then I moved over to offensive line my sophomore year.
When did you know that you could potentially, have a chance to go on to college and maybe play in the NFL?
Yeah, I would say definitely for college, it started my junior year of high school, because that was when I first started on varsity, and I got my first offer about 4 games into it, and at that moment I knew, I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. If I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna set myself up to go to a really great university, get my education right, and potentially put myself in a position to go to NFL. Then And with the NFL specifically, it was after the first game I started in college at the end of my sophomore year against Arkansas in our bowl game. And even though we didn't win the game, I had a pretty good game myself. And I think that was another checkpoint where I was like, okay, I'm still on the right path. Again, if I do what I'm supposed to do, take care of business, I'm going to have a shot at this.
Although the Jets have had to shuffle around the offensive line the last couple of years because of injuries and whatnot, how comfortable are you playing different spots on the line?
Yeah, super comfortable. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to win, so I'm going to do everything in my power to help this team win. And it's not up to me where I play, but I know wherever they put me, I'm going to make the most out of it.
Have you had a chance to talk or text with Caleb since last night?
No, I'm going to give it a couple of days before his phone, calms down before I hit him up.
Just how wild is it for two guys that played high school football together to be, drafted in the first round together?
Yeah, it's crazy, honestly. And at Gonzaga, everyone kind of knew Caleb was the man. We all knew that, he was going to put himself in this position. And, for me, myself, 4 years later, to also be in that same position, be two teammates drafted in the first round, I mean, it's just awesome.
What has James Franklin done for your development as a player from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, I think the biggest help that Coach Franklin had for my career is just that model of consistency. And I think that as for a lineman, that's the most important thing you can be, just consistent, always the same player on and off the field, no matter what you're going through. And for him to really instill that into me, it was definitely a big help.
Just going back to Tyron, did somebody tell you to start watching him, or as a football fan, was that something that you just knew to do, or how did that work?
No, I mean, so when I started playing football, I wasn't, too educated with offensive line, and, that was, again, when I started playing football, Tyron Smith, I mean, that was during, his years at the Cowboys, and at the time, he was like the face of an offensive lineman. So for him, it was a no-brainer for me to watch him. Also, again, saying I had a similar build, longer type build, leaner build. So for me, it was a no-brainer for me to watch him.
There have been accounts that said the Ohio State game last year wasn't one of your better games. How did you do in that game, and did you learn anything that you could apply to?
Yeah, no, most definitely. That game definitely wasn't one of my better games in my career, and I beat myself up pretty hard about it for the days after. But I ended up just using that game as a learning experience. I really watched myself in that game multiple times, tried to find all the different flaws I had in that game, and I built upon it.
Is there any pass rusher you're looking forward to facing?
Yeah, definitely Micah Parsons, another Penn State guy. So, yeah.
Speaking of Penn State, do you have any connection? I know there's two former Penn State guys, Charles and Zach Kuntz.
Yeah.
Do you know them? And are there people from Maryland on the team you might know?
Yeah, Zach, definitely. He was at Penn State my freshman year. He was one of the older guys that really helped made my transition from high school to college a lot easier than it should have. So he's definitely, the biggest contact I have here.
Last year on Hard Knocks, there was a lot about the guys going to Broadway plays here. Anything particular that you're looking forward to being in New York now?
I'd say the biggest thing, I'm a big food guy. So, I've heard a lot about Peter Luger, if that's what it's called, and Carbone's also. So those are two big places I'm looking forward to going.
Don't tell the older guys in the offensive line room.
No. Yeah, I might just expose myself. But
You were talking about you'll do whatever it takes to win and play anywhere. We know you're going to be a tackle in the league a long time, but the first year with the two veterans at tackle, can you play guard? Have you played guard? And what are your thoughts if they just move you in there for a year?
Yeah, I've never played guard, but again, I'm willing to do anything to help this team win. And for learning a new position, it's all about reps. So, if they do stick me in that guard, it might take a little bit more reps for me since I've never played the position. But again, I'm willing to do anything to help this team win.
All right, thank you. We're going to take the photo real quick.
Sam.
Yeah.
No, gotcha. Gotcha.
Yep. Everyone good? Thank you.